Have you ever watched a single mom arrive in court and wondered what she is truly carrying, emotionally, financially, quietly in her heart? Imagine standing in front of a stern judge, facing a fine of $400, a sum that seems small to some, but to her it felt like a mountain. What would you do if you learned that fine wasn't just about a missed payment or a forgotten form, but about something far deeper, something invisible, something that broke your heart before it even reached the courtroom? Friends, you won't believe this. A single mother walked into the courtroom of Frank Caprio with tears in her eyes, clutching a stack of papers and a heart full of worry. The judge asked a simple question, and her answer shattered every expectation. Did the fine change her life? Did the judge respond with the expected harshness or something far more compassionate? Stay with me, because what happened next will literally melt your heart, and you'll never see justice the same way again. In the next 40 seconds, you'll meet her, you'll feel the weight of her journey, and you'll hear the words that changed everything in that courtroom. We'll ask the questions that echo long after the gavel drops. Why was she fined? What secret was hiding behind the fine? And most importantly, how did a judge respond in a way nobody expected? Friends, tell us in the comments, if it were you, what would you hope happened next? Don't go anywhere, because in this video, you'll see hope in the most unexpected place, compassion when it seemed impossible, and a moment of truth that reminds us all what humanity really means. This is a story of hardship, of resilience, of love pushed to the edges, and of justice meeting humanity. Our main character, a woman named Maria, is a single mother of 2 young children. She works long hours cleaning offices when the sun rises, when her children are still sleeping. Then she scrambles to drop them at school, she hustles through the day, and she returns home each evening exhausted, but still hopeful. Her rent is always due, the utility bills loom, the car needs repairs, the children need shoes for school. Everyone tells her, "You're doing great," but inside she carries a quiet fear. What if one more expense tips the balance? The setting is a modest courtroom in a suburban town. The judge presiding is Frank Caprio, known for his calm presence and fair mind. On that day, the docket listed dozens of cases, but one particular name stood out: Maria's. The sheet said $400 fine for what exactly? At first glance, the violation seemed minor, perhaps a traffic ticket, perhaps a neglected form, but anyone who's ever felt the weight of a small sum knows it's never just about the fine. The moment Maria walked into the courtroom, you could sense the weight of the world on her shoulders. She peeked at her children waiting outside, then took a deep breath and entered the room. Judge Caprio greeted her with respectful nod. He asked, "Are you Miss Maria?" She answered in a soft voice. Then he asked, "Do you understand the charge before the court today?" She nodded, but hesitated. That hesitation told a story no one on the bench yet understood. You see, what brought her here wasn't simply a fine. It was the accumulation of small battles she had been fighting for years. Maybe you've been there, friends, where the fine isn't the real story. The story is survival. As we lay this groundwork, the question you should ask is, what hidden struggle brought Maria before the judge today? What secret is about to be revealed in the next minutes? And how will a judge known for fairness respond when the story behind the fine is more than just paperwork? Stay tuned. The courtroom hushes as Judge Caprio leans forward and asks, "Miss Maria, would you like to explain your situation?" At that moment, the whole room feels suspended in time. The clerk stops shuffling papers. The other cases pause. The air holds a question. What is going on here? Maria takes a breath. Her voice cracks when she says, "Your Honor, I accept the fine, but I need you to know why." A collective intake of breath. Judge Caprio nods gently. She begins. She lost her job last year due to health issues. She found work again, 2 jobs, but one setback, one breakdown, and the bills stacked. Her children had medical bills of their own. The car broke down and she missed that payment. Then came a traffic citation she couldn't afford to contest. The fine, $400, was piling on top of every unpaid repair, every delayed rent, every skipped meal. The clerk glances up. The judge leans back. Everyone senses the secret. This fine is the tip of an iceberg. She lists, I borrowed from friends, I sold things, I skipped meals so they could eat. Yesterday I couldn't afford to fix the heater. It's October. The cold will come and I worried about the kids at night. Your Honor, I came here not for a fight, but because I want to try to make this right. A hush. The mother's face shows both pride and defeat, hope and fear. You might ask, why didn't she ask for help sooner? Why did she let the accumulation get so bad? These are the questions that tug at your heart. Judge Caprio replies, Miss Maria, I'll tell you something. I see more than the fine. I see the struggle. At that moment, you realize this is not a standard citation. This is justice meeting humanity. The prosecutor clears her throat.
Your Honor, the state must enforce the law. The fine is to deter and to deliver responsibility. But the judge stays silent for a moment, studying Maria's face. The conflict unfolds. The law says the fine must be paid. Her life says she cannot pay it without breaking. What will win? The principle of law or the principle of compassion? What secret lies deeper still? Then Maria reveals something even more heart-wrenching. Her youngest child suffers from a chronic illness. The treatments cost money. She had been forced to choose between another payment and medicine. The courtroom listens. The clerk's pen pauses. The judge's eyes soften. Everyone senses the weight. You may wonder, if she had asked, would someone have helped? If the system had been more forgiving, could she have avoided this? The rising conflict is now clear. She stands before the law, shackled by life's burdens. The secret unveiled. The $400 isn't a simple fine. It is the final push of a woman trying to hold on. The suspense? What will the judge do? Will the fine be enforced? Will she face consequences? Or will compassion prevail? You're glued to this story now because it's not just about one mom. It's about every person who's ever been at the edge and still dared to stand up. The judge clears his throat and says, We'll hear from the defense, and then I will issue a ruling. The tension in the courtroom is thick. You can feel it. What comes next will decide more than money. It will decide dignity. Stay with us because the emotional climax is about to unfold, and you cannot miss it. Now the moment arrives. Judge Caprio asks Maria to step forward. She does. Her children, waiting outside, peer nervously through the glass. The gallery is quiet. The judge begins, Miss Maria, when you stepped into this courtroom, you brought with you more than a name and a case number. You brought your story, your burden, your love for your children, and your hope. The words hang in the air. Maria closes her eyes for just a second. You could almost hear her heartbeat. Then the judge continues, I've reviewed the record. I've listened to your words. I've seen you fight. He pauses. The hush deepens. This fine of $400, yes, it is lawful. It is real. But I must ask, what purpose does punishment serve if it destroys hope? A collective silence. The prosecutor shifts in her seat. Maria's eyes glisten. The judge leans forward and says, You say you're working 2 jobs. You say you care for your children. You say you sacrificed. You say you tried, and you asked for mercy in this very courtroom. There it is. Mercy. The emotional crescendo builds. The mom's shoulders slump slightly, relief and fear mingling. The judge slowly rises and says, I will suspend the fine. Instead, I will place you on a 6-month payment plan of $1 a month, and I will waive court costs entirely. Gasps in the courtroom. Some people wipe tears. The children outside learn they will keep their heater this winter. The judge continues, More than that, I will connect you with a community support program. You will meet an advisor who will help you with budgeting, debt, and community resources. You will not walk out of this courtroom alone." The mom covers her face for a second, then raises it, tears streaming. You feel your own eyes sting. How often do we see this? A judge really helping rather than just judging. You may ask, why did he go that far? Because he saw a person, not just a case. The gallery stands. The mom slowly rises, hugs her lawyer. The children run into her arms. The judge nods. The clerk stamps the order. The sound of the gavel echoes. At that moment, your heart swells with hope, sadness, gratitude. This is the emotional climax, justice tempered with compassion. The mother, once about to be broken, now breathes. The judge's decision doesn't erase the burden entirely, but it lets hope live. You might now wonder, what will become of her next? How will her life change from here? That anticipation keeps you attached, because this story doesn't end with the courtroom. It continues into real life, and you're about to see how the judge's decision changed things, for her and for us all.
In that moment, the courtroom lights seem to soften. Judge Caprio announces plainly, "Case dismissed under payment plan and support program." The word dismissed rings differently when you know the full story. The mother exhales. Relief floods her face. The judge adds, "Miss Maria, you must meet with the advisor within 30 days. Follow the program, make the $1 payments, use the resources. Show us you're moving forward." The mom nods, voice barely above a whisper, "Yes, Your Honor." The judge then addresses the gallery. "Let this be a reminder that our courts are not only places of punishment, they are places of restoration." And there it is, a shift in perspective. He sets the tone for how justice can be compassionate. You see people in the courtroom wiping their cheeks. The clerk stamps the file. The case ends. But the impact lingers. Outside the courtroom, the mom hugs her children, promises to fix the heater, to repay kindness with kindness, to show the community that when someone gives you a chance, you don't waste it. She steps into the crisp autumn air with hope. For the children, winter won't be so cold this year. For communities, this story becomes a symbol, a single fine, a single judge, a single person who was given mercy, and what that mercy meant. You might ask, could this decision change how other judges act? Could it shift how we see people in need? The answer is maybe yes, because each time mercy appears in the courtroom, it sends a ripple outwards. The mother begins a journey, small steps, but steps nonetheless. And the judge's final decision didn't eliminate her past, but gave her a bridge to move beyond it. What happens after today? That's the next chapter, and maybe the most hopeful one of all. People began to share the clip, replaying that moment when compassion triumphed over punishment. Comments poured in. "This judge restores my faith in humanity. I wish every courtroom was like his." That mom deserved hope. Maria herself could hardly believe how strangers were rallying around her story. She received letters of encouragement, offers for odd jobs, and a donation from a local charity that helped pay off some remaining bills. Her children, too young to grasp the full gravity of what had happened, kept saying, "Mom, the nice judge helped us." Every time she heard that, tears welled in her eyes, not of sorrow, but of gratitude. And what about Judge Caprio? For him, it wasn't just another case. He often said that compassion doesn't weaken justice, it completes it. Each day, hundreds of people appear before him, each with their own story, each with unseen pain. He chooses to listen. That is his quiet revolution. Behind the robe, behind the bench, he believes that justice should never lose its humanity. And maybe that's the lesson for all of us, that empathy doesn't make systems weaker, it makes societies stronger. Friends, imagine if every community carried this spirit. Imagine if every institution, every workplace, every home remembered that rules were made for people, not people for rules. When we see someone fall, we don't push harder, we extend a hand. When someone is struggling, we don't shame them. We ask, "What can I do?" Maria's story reminds us that sometimes the greatest victories happen not through punishment, but through understanding. So, as we close today's story, take a moment to think, who around you might need that same grace today? A friend? A neighbor? Maybe even yourself. If this story touched your heart, share it forward, because one act of kindness can inspire another. Leave a comment and tell us, what does compassion mean to you? How do you think justice should look in a world that often forgets the faces behind the fines? And friends, don't forget, next time we're bringing you another real story straight from the heart of the courtroom. It's a case that left even Judge Caprio speechless. A father, a desperate choice, and a verdict that no one saw coming. You'll want to see how that story unfolds. Until then, stay kind, stay hopeful, and remember, behind every case, every struggle, every headline, there's a human being just trying to hold on.